Hello, my name is Robert Dean Steele, and every once in a while I just love to do a video, kind of like this one. It's a little different, and the only reason it's different is because I'm talking about everything I need to know about life I can actually learn from Noah's Ark. Well, what's the first thing that you can learn? Well, first of all, don't miss the boat. You see, what happens when you miss the boat, especially when it comes to Noah's Ark, is you can actually find yourself drowning in life and be flooded over by all the things that happen. So don't miss the boat. Make sure that you stay on time and kind of on track. The next thing is, and I'm going to put my glasses on for this one. Remember, we're all in the same boat. Think about that for just a moment. We're all in the same boat. That means that we're all living in planet Earth. And I love what Peter says. Peter says, don't think it's strange when fiery trials come upon you. Every one of us faces problems, trials, and tribulations. But the answer is always the same. Go to the Lord. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean to your own understanding, but always acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. So don't think it's strange that when you go through trials and tribulations and problems, there are days of victory and there are days of defeat. There are days where you're wondering, where did I go wrong? And there are days you feel like, man, everything is just running right on time. Yeah. Remember, we're all in the same boat. The third thing that we can learn is plan ahead. It wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. Now, Noah was given lots of time to be able to prepare for life. And God often shows us what's going to come ahead. In fact, He even tells us through nature and through His Word about the fact that there are going to be good days and there are going to be bad days. And on the good days, enjoy every aspect of it. Like the day that I recorded this particular video, it was sunshine outside. The weather was beautiful. Wind was blowing just very beautifully. But you know what? Tomorrow, according to the weather forecast, we're going to see rain and snow. So you see, you just never know what's going to happen. So make sure that you plan ahead. There's a wonderful lesson we can learn from the ant, and we can learn from those animals that prepare all summer. They know that one day winter is going to come, and there are going to be winter seasons in your life, and you need to be prepared as best you can. Now, what that means is basically make sure that you have a contingency plan. Like when something happens, like for example, you are finding yourself with a financial crisis, well, the best thing to do is put money aside so that you are ready for it. Dave Ramsey says he calls this your emergency fund. The time that you might lose your job, you should have something in reserve. That's a very wise decision. Number 4, stay fit. You know what? You never really know how old you're going to be, or when God may call you to do something you weren't expecting. Colonel Sanders, when he was creating Kentucky Fried Chicken, he was he was past senior citizen age, is what I'm basically saying. And he started up a successful business, and he became Colonel Sanders. And when the Lord called Abraham out of the Ur of the Chaldees, he was 75 years old, and he was 100 years old, and Sarah was 90 when Isaac came along. One of my favorite Old Testament prophets is Haggai. Haggai, according to Dr. Peter Craigie, was 90 years old when he was called to be a prophet. Now think about that. You're 90 years old, you're sitting back thinking, oh, this is going to be so good to relax. And then all of a sudden God says, I need you to go to such and such a place and prophesy and encourage the people to serve the Lord. Well, you'd say to yourself, I'm a little bit too old. I love this story about this one man who showed up at this missions board. He only had one leg. And they said, well, why do you want to go? You're only one leg. He looked around and said, I don't see too many people with 2 legs going. So stay fit, because you never know when God's going to call you or how old you are. The last one I want to think about is this. I want to look at my cheaters for a moment. Don't listen to the critics. Just get on with the job that needs to be done. Well, if Noah would have listened to the critics, if Noah would have done what those people had asked him to do, he would have never built the ark. He would never have spent 100 years building a boat when there was no water around. He would be telling people, look, the skies are going to open up. And they said, what do you mean skies are open up? There's never been anything called rain. Well, you know what? There's always going to be the critics. There's always going to be the cynics. There's always going to be the mockers. There's always going to be the scorners. There's always going to be people telling you can't do this, you can't do that. What you need to do is say, you know what? If God's called me to do it, I am going to do it. Many of the greatest inventions have happened because of people who just didn't give up. I love that little phrase that basically says, don't give up. Or the other one that says, when the going get tough, the tough get going. My wife kind of twists that around and says she goes shopping. Well, folks, these are 5 things that we can learn from Noah and from Noah's Ark. I hope you've had a little bit of fun as I have had today. God bless you and have yourself a great and godly day.